All right, guys, we're back here in class, and I'm going to show you how to build the wall down the center, your interior main bearing wall in between your two exterior walls. And what we're going to do here is we're going to install a small doorway opening here in the middle of our room. Okay, so how we handle that is we're going to center it first, and then we're going to install what we call a 2-4 door. A 2-foot 4-inch door is the smallest door we can normally order that's a standard size. So we're going to install a 2-4 through door here in our rough opening. So the first thing we want to do is find the middle of our wall. So we're going to go ahead and measure. After we cut our plates already, this is our bottom plate, this is going to be our top plate. Now we're going to lay out our rough openings at our 16-inch center. So the first thing we're going to do is we get a total length, and it's right around 87 3/4, 88. So it's about 43 3/4 should be about the center of my wall. So let's go a second. So I measured it that way. It's actually about 43 5/8. It's going to be the center of our wall, and everybody's may be a little bit different depending on your framing. Okay, so once we mark the center of it, we're going to put a 2-foot 4-inch wide door. Now, if you guys recall, a 2-4 door is referring to just the door blank itself. So if I look at this door here, if this door was 2 foot 4 inches wide, that's the door itself I have to add for the jambs on both sides. Now, in our case, this is a residential jamb. Does anybody remember how much we add to the door to create our rough opening? Does anybody remember? We're going to add a jamb on both sides and a little gap on both sides to our rough opening. What is it? 3, it's almost 3. It's 2.5 inches we're going to add. So we have a 2-foot 4-inch door. We're going to add 2.5 inches to create our rough opening. So that's going to be 2 feet 6.5. Does anybody want to know what 2 feet 6.5 is divided by 2? No? So 2 divided by 2 is what? 1. 6 divided by 2 is what?
3.
3/4 divided by 2 is what?
1/8.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to do 1 foot 3 1/4 this direction. All right, then we're going to do 1 foot 3 1/4 this direction. We're going to measure in between here, and we should have 2 feet 6 1/2 inches in between our marks. Okay, I just put my marks lightly at this point to make sure my math is right. Now I'm going to have to lay out my jack and king. This distance between this mark and this mark is our rough opening dimension. It's 2 feet 6 1/2 inches. All right. Now I'm going to install a jack stud beside it and a king stud. So again, my tri-square is 1.5 inches thick, the same as my framing lumber. So I set it on my mark, and I'm going to mark both sides of my tri-square like so. Jack, jack, king, king. Okay, we've had that already. We're going to go back over here. We're going to mark jack, jack, king, king. Okay, if you look over here on your project, this is your jack stud, this is your king stud. King, jack. We have a rough opening. The main difference between the opening you just created in your window, this is a door opening, so we're not going to have a sill and cripple studs in it. Okay, it's just going to be a rough opening for a door. Okay, so we have our jack, our king, our rough opening. Now all we have to do, since we have our inside corners created for our little project, we're just going to have a stud on the end here. All right, so when we stand it up, it fastens to this corner. We're going to have a stud on this end, okay, which is marked with an X. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to lay out our 16 inches on center. And we've done this many times. We're going to hook our tape measure on here, and we're going to mark 15 1/4 and fall to the right so that the center of the stud is exactly at the 16-inch mark. Then we're going to come over here to the next red dot on our tape measure. See the 16's red, the 15's are black. That designates a 16-inch center. We go to the next 16-inch center, 31 1/4. You can see that lands inside our doorway, so we don't necessarily need a stud there, but I like to mark it anyway. 47 1/4. This would be a CX or a cripple stud if it needed cripple studs in it. It won't because it's a door opening. Now we're gonna go over to 63 1/4. Again, our red mark on our tape measure, we fall back 3/4 of an inch. 1, 2, 3, 63 1/4, then 79 1/4, just like so. Then it's just a matter of squaring it across, putting your marks on both your bottom and your top plate, just like this. All right, and that's all there is to it, guys. All you have in here is you have a stud on the end, a 16-inch center, and a rough opening for a door in the middle, okay? If you've done everything right from the center, it should be 1 foot 3 1/4 to the inside of your jack, 1 foot 3 1/4, or from the inside of jack to inside of jack, 2 foot 6 1/2, okay? All right, so now what you have to do is spread it apart. In this little project, the length of your studs are only 43 1/2 inches long because we're double top plating it to create a total wall height of 48 inches. All right, guys, hopefully you got that. Have a great day. Thank you.